Okay, let me talk about theory on liquor aging and storage. And just so you know, I'm a physicist. I'm not a samurai. I have a really small amount of knowledge on those things. It just after recording physics videos, I want to feel like talk about a little bit something off topic. Um, so we know that that's how liquor is made. So based on sugar using yeast or other bacteria that converting the sugar to alcohol and carbon dioxide. Um, and this is another reaction that requires certain bacteria as well. I don't know which. I haven't done the research. I don't feel like it. So just and it requires certain bacteria to take oxygen to convert the ethanol to a vinegar and water. So that's the opposite of what we want. So that's how how the lot of wine after 2 days it tastes like vinegar, which is terrible. Um, so that's some background chemistry, and so let's talk about the aging. The aging process is rather interesting. So it has two different ways, two different characteristics. One is using the barrel. So the barrel will actually making it making it less harsh in a way. So if the newly made whiskey, like very young whiskey, it would taste very aggressive. So aggressive basically means it tastes like it burn your throat, burn your mouth. It still have a very strong flavor. It's not beginner friendly. I think but also the older one is not either because I cannot taste it because I'm not an expert. Again, it's like my sweet spot is 16 years or 14 years. After that, it just like waste of money for me. So it would make things less harsh and a little bit of wood flavor. Because pretty much this is basically putting ethanol into a barrel. So it dissolves part of the wood and part of the char. Char is basically in the barrel is not literally the wooden barrel. They actually burn the inside to make it char. Just like I don't know, kind of like coffee. It just express certain flavors on oil, I guess. I'm no expert by the way. So there's a certain parameters that you need to consider. So how much is charred, how is charred, and the wood, which wood it does, is, I don't know. Yeah, which type of wood does it make, and also the history. American, of course, I think this is like the oak wood, right? That's one of my favorite, and the history of it. For instance, of course, you have sometimes you have a brand new barrel. Sometimes you have like the barrel that has a history. For instance, like one of my favorite Gondik is the barrel used to age bourbon, and they put scotch in it. So they have a bourbon characteristic, little hint of a bourbon characteristic in the scotch, which makes it kind of more enjoyable, at least for me. And that's one way of aging. So basically, the wood take off some harsh characteristic of the liquor and add a little bit more flavor to it. That's as far as I know. And the second is the chemistry, some chemical reaction. So it's basically kind of an oxidation, very slow oxidation reaction. It happens very often in wine. That's why after you get the bottle of wine, the the longer it gets, the more valuable it gets, because the cores will will acting like a filter. It just it block it blocks some larger particles, for instance bacteria, or microbiologic matters, for instance. I don't know the name. But some gas from will slowly seeping into it. It will have a reaction to make a wine more flavorsome. As I said, this reaction requires certain bacteria which is lack of in the wine. Sometimes. So that's why some good wines can last forever. Some wine, some cheap wine is for immediate consumption. And then that will make the wine, the oxidation will make it more flavorsome, and sometime, but after you open the bottle, the bacteria in the air, or microbiota on the air will land into the bottle or on the bottle, ended up encouraging this reaction, which will make the wine taste bad. And also sometimes even hard liquor, for instance, some scotch that I had, if I only have a little bit at the bottom, and over the course of a month, it will change its taste. It still tastes good, but it tastes not as good. Some characteristic is missing somehow. I think maybe those chemical compounds will react to oxygen. Basically, it goes through a oxidation procedure. By that, what I mean is because some, scotch is a good thing because it has rich in antioxidants. So over time oxidized, so some flavor may changes. So let's talk about the storage. The common storage with unbottled, with bottled liquors, for instance, wine like low alcohol percentage liquor, you could just lie it like this, so the water will touch the corks. Because the water touch the corks will expand in a way, so the gap is small enough that some microbiotic will not pass through the corks. On the other hand, the hard liquor, you should, from time to time, you should tilt a little bit, let some liquor touch the corks, to let it expand a little bit and put it back on, because the hard liquor, the high alcohol content will actually eat up, basically consume or dissolve the corks over time. It will taste weird, and also it will basically make it less and less protected. And of course, another way, a very expensive or very, very cumbersome way, is just the oxygen is what makes it taste weird. So technically, and also some microbiotic make it taste weird. So technically, you could put a heavy gas into some not so active gas, maybe helium or neon, like those gases, and then maybe even you can extract the liquor from here, that doesn't give a chance for the microbiotic having contact with the liquor. I actually know that there are some commercial product there to do that, which I kind of, to be honest, is kind of overpriced. because the mechanism is very very simple. You just put gas in it and push the liquor out, so that it will create a very very clean environment inside. But well, because they don't produce much, I guess it makes sense to be expensive. So yeah, that's the general theory. And so far the theory of liquor aging and storage.